Next week is South Korea's Trauma Week, where mental health experts and survivors of national tragedies gathered to raise awareness on how to treat trauma. Our Shin Ye-eun met some of those traumatized by South Korea's worst disasters and looks at what is being done to help them recover.
Every day on the news, we see tragic events wreaking havoc around the world. But what we don't see are the lasting effects on the people affected. Many develop trauma. Trauma is an emotional response to experiencing or witnessing a life-threatening event. While most people recover quite quickly with the help of friends and family, some develop post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Many people suffering from PTSD develop other mental health problems like depression or anxiety.
저는 산풍 생존자입니다라는 책을 쓴 작가 산만 언니입니다.
27 years ago, where I'm walking right now, South Korea saw its deadliest building collapse.
1995년 6월 29일이었고요. 한 저녁 6시 정도였어요. 그러니까 당시에 굉장히 더웠어요. 굉장히 더웠고 에어컨이 고장이 났고 건물 여러 군데 붕괴 조짐이 있다. 그래서 저는 당시 지하 1층에 있었고 커다란 폭발음이 들렸을 때 저는 무너진 동에 있었는데 누가 불러가지고 그쪽으로 가는 도중에 뒤에서 건물이 무너졌어요. 저는 이제 뒤쪽을 날아오는 돌의 파편에 맞았거든요.
Lee Sun-min was 20 years old at the time. Now she's 47, and a new apartment complex has been built where Sampung department store used to stand. But she's still trapped in that summer day of 1995.
남들은 그 20대 그 너무 행복하고 막 청춘의 시간들인데 저는 그때를 떠올리고 싶지도 않아요. 진짜로. 너무 힘들어서. 그러니까 뭐 불면증 그러니까 그때 그 당시에 겪었던 모든 그러니까 성격장애 스펙트럼 유형까지 다 보였고 30살 돼서까지도 죽고 싶었어요. 그러니까 뭐만 하다가 안 되면 그냥 죽어버리지 이걸 왜 살지? 그 사람들 그렇게 간단하게 죽는데.
Another national tragedy is the sinking of the Sewol ferry, South Korea's worst maritime disaster in modern history. A ship carrying 476 passengers from Incheon to Jeju Island sank. More than 300 people died. I talked to a mother who lost her son in this tragedy. 8 years have passed and she still suffers from the trauma.
저를 예로 들자고 하면 처음에는 샤워도 못했어요. 주방에서 음식 같은 거 할 때도 너무너무 힘들고 주저앉아서 울기도 하고 아무것도 못하는 상태가 되었었고요. 뭐 의학적으로 뭐 불면이라든지 불안, 우울, 뭐 긴장감, 막 예민함, 막 분노, 막 화 이거는 여전하게 현재 진행형이거든요. 또 숨을 잘 못 쉰다든가 뭐 머리 아픈 거는 늘상 진통제를 달고 있고요.
It was this incident that stirred a movement in Korea. Authorities recognize that national tragedies spur trauma and that trauma caused by the nation should be treated by the nation. That's why in 2018, the Ministry of Health and Welfare launched the National Center for Disaster Trauma.
Our main focus is treating disasters because they can't be handled by a single organization or local government. They require comprehensive aid. Before our center was established, many psychiatrists and private organizations volunteered to go to the front lines and provide counseling. But they realized this wasn't a job they could do alone. They called for a national center to oversee the site and provide a wide range of resources.
The center's main mission is to help survivors become more resilient. It also raises awareness on the importance of treating trauma. That's why the center has designated a week in April as Trauma Week, where symposiums and online seminars are held for mental health professionals and survivors to come together and talk about their trauma and how it can be treated.
Trauma is quite prevalent. 8 out of 10 people experience trauma once in their life. Some experience it twice. While we can't stop these disasters or horrible incidents from happening, what we can do is help people with trauma recover from it. That's what we want to promote during this Trauma Treatment Week.
A psychiatrist specializing in trauma and stress studies said the nation's decision to handle trauma was a step in the right direction.
Trauma can lead to societal damage. It's not something that just affects survivors and their families. It's beneficial for the nation to actively help survivors recover so they can come back to society.
It's not just survivors of national tragedies that require help from the nation. It's also those who work on the front lines, like firefighters. Just a few days ago, a wildfire broke out right here, blazing through 347 hectares worth of land. It took a total of 48 hours to completely get rid of the flames. This firefighter has been on the special rescue team at the fire service headquarters in Gyeongsangbuk-do province for more than 7 years. He said every day, he and his colleagues are exposed to trauma.
트라우마라고 할 게 뭐 매 순간 이 트라우마를 만들 수 있는 상황이라고 생각하거든요. 매 순간 힘든데 제가 자주 다니는 길 중에 한 그 길목에 총 4분의 소사자가 발생한 현장이 있었습니다. 거기는 제 여동생 또래의 학생 3명과 그 운전자는 학원 선생님이셨는데 그 현장을 지나갈 때마다 항상 그때의 기억이 떠오르고 또 제가 또 주변 사람들 내 가족이 그럴 수도 있고 내 지인이 그럴 수도 있다는 생각이 항상 좀 머리에 있어가지고 항상 조심하라고 말.
That's why local governments are fueling efforts to expand the scope of who should be treated for trauma. One such effort can be seen in Yeongju City in Gyeongsangbuk-do province, which has the world's biggest forest therapy center. Here, visitors can find emotional wellness through various healing programs. Studies found that depression levels among those who tried forest therapy fell to a third of previous levels. I feel so relaxed right now. I love the fact that I can enjoy the cool breeze and look out into the woods. But because I've never experienced trauma myself, I had to ask those with trauma what they think is the best way to treat it.
그런데 나랑 비슷한 걸 겪은 사람들을 일부러라도 만나야 돼요. 나라에서라도 통장이라도 찾아와서 자꾸 불러내서 만나게 하고 얘기하게 해야 돼요. 왜냐하면 그러는 과정에서 치유가 되거든요. 그러니까 사람은 사람을 통해서 치유가 돼요. 어쩔 수 없어요.
좀 용기를 내주셨으면 한 번이라도 나 너무 힘들어, 나 좀 도와줘 이런 말씀을 하실 수 있으면 좋을 것 같고요.
항상 현장을 갔다 와서 말로 풀고 있기 때문에 대화를 많이 해야 된다고 생각합니다. 그래야지 이제 몰랐던 부분도 같이 풀어나갈 수 있고 또 대화도 하고 동료들하고 같이 몸을 부딪히면서 운동하는 게 가장 좋은 치유 방법이지 않을까라는 생각이 듭니다.
As survivors and mental health experts have said, it's all about communication, being a good listener, and not being afraid to talk about trauma. And if you need more help, seek for professional support. Shin Ye-eun, Arirang News, Yeongju.